again, ladies and gentlemen, thank you very much for watching and for listening. It's fabulous to be here in what we think is our home display at RAF Waddington. I hope you can see another of our displays in the near future, tomorrow same times at RAF Waddington. But for now, I wish you all the very best on behalf of the Royal Air Force and from us all at the Red Arrows.
Thank you very much indeed, Squadron Leader Michaeling. Absolutely superb display, and how wonderful to see you back in a 9-pin formation. Really, really top stuff. Don't worry, I see you've got lots to do. We'll hear more from you tomorrow. Ladies and gentlemen, how do you beat that? You can only beat it by one aircraft that we have here today, Ben, the mighty Vulcan.
Indeed, of course, it's the world's sole flying example of what was for a while hard to believe.
Relaxed, isn't it? He's going to get excited in just a moment. Well, it's a very special treat, Ben, don't you think, having that following the Reds?
Absolutely. Of course, they've flown in formation on several previous occasions, and what an incredible sight this aircraft makes. We're all relatively familiar, I think, with the Vulcan now, whether from its days in RAF service or since 2008, its return to flight, the remarkable return to flight of this example, thanks to the Vulcan to the Sky Trust, and particularly thanks to all of you who have donated so magnificently to keep this aircraft flying. But its impact never fails, does it?
No, often referred to as the people's aircraft. Yes, Ben, very noteworthy there to mention that it is everybody across the United Kingdom that has contributed to this. And I'll tell you a little bit more about Project 2015 before the end of this display as well. But Kev, give us, whilst it's out in distance there, give us a quick feel. What's it like to fly this particular aircraft?
It's amazing, actually. It's a very large aircraft, big delta wing. The aircraft is about the same size as an Airbus A320 airliner, but it flies like a fighter. The controls are very, very strong, powerful controls. So when we're flying the aircraft, it flies and feels like we're flying an aircraft significantly smaller than the aircraft actually is.
And that much, of course, was demonstrated so memorably at Farnborough in 1955 by the Avro test pilot Rolly Falk, who rolled one of the prototype Vulcans. And well, we see something of that, don't we, in the very steep wingovers that the aircraft still to this day performs.
And that's correct. We could, the aircraft is capable of rolling, but we're not allowed to do that. But we do wingovers. We pitch up and use up to about 135 degrees of bank. As you see now, the aircraft coming towards us, we'll be doing one of those manoeuvres right now, crowd centre.
And very poignantly, we remember today young Jason Ward and his mother Beverly LePenier, who are very much missed by their family and friends. I know great supporters of X-Ray Hotel 558 and well-known in the local community.
As you can see there, ladies and gentlemen, the start of this display season this year we've introduced a B-axis on-ground arrival. The rest of the display is very similar to what you may have seen in the past, consisting of wingovers and steep turns. Bill Ramsey, flying the aircraft at the moment, is bringing the aircraft back in the left-hand turn, and will be performing the bomb bay turn. So cameras ready. As the aircraft comes crowd centre, she will start the right-hand turn, and the bomb doors will be opened, showing you the large expanse of the bomb bay itself.
And how appropriate, as always, to see XH558 performing here at Waddington. We're in bomber country, of course, here up in Lincolnshire, and for many years Waddington was itself not just the base for Vulcan squadrons, but the base of this aircraft.
The bomb doors open now.
Very gentle on the throttle there, but later on you'll hear the mighty roar of those four Rolls-Royce Bristol Airbus 202 shaft turbojets with 16,400 pounds of power each. And look at that huge wingspan of 111 feet. Just a little bit bigger, would you believe, than an Airbus A318.
It's perhaps hard to believe from the very advanced look of this aircraft's design that this was a machine that first flew in prototype form, then known as the Avro 698 in 1952.
Yes, from the hands of the remarkable Roy Chadwick, and who would believe that just 11 years earlier, the Lancaster, which he also displayed, took flight as well. I mean, amazing turnaround in technology in the space of little over 10 years. Quite an achievement, and it all started, I understand, with a scruffy bit of paper and an old drawing, wondering whether this could actually fly.
Bill is flying out now to perform a wing over left before returning back down the line of the airplane.
And maybe here a chance to hear that famous howl.
Howl, I reckon that was a roar. Absolutely phenomenal thing. It's very sad to note that it's similar history to R.J. Mitchell, who died before the amazing success of the Spitfire came to prominence, that Roy Chadwick himself died in 1947 and never really saw, of course, the great success of this aircraft, and his work taken on by a band of very, very able engineers, just as those supporting the aircraft here today.
It was really a mark of the success of the V-Force as part of Britain's nuclear deterrent during the Cold War years that the Vulcan didn't actually have to go to war until the Falklands in 1982.
As the Vulcan now approaches from the left towards Crown Centre, the pilot Bill Ramsey will be beginning a left-hand 360-degree turn, and about 3/4 of the way around the turn we'll be applying full power to go into what we call the spiral climb.
The Falklands campaign, and of course it was that year, on the 30th of April 1982, to 45 the top of this spiral climb, you'll hear go very, very quiet. And new for this season is a idle power spiral descent back down a similar kind of ground track. Yes, catching us out there slightly. Bill did mention that he was going to climb and put it next time. I didn't realise he was going to go quite that high. I mean, that was terrific, a terrific addition to the display this year. And indeed, that commemoration we were discussing there with the very aircraft had left at your 45 degrees 607 there, completing a 7,760 mile round trip with 18 air-to-air refuelings. Quite extraordinary.
And captained by Martin Withers, who is on board XH558 with Bill Ramsey today.
Amazing, isn't it? Still doing the same thing. Absolutely extraordinary. Well done. I don't know who's pulling the strings there, actually. I suspect that is.
We have 5 pilots as part of the team. We share the flying amongst us. Obviously some of us have got day jobs, and today it's Bill Ramsey's turn to be captain and fly, so Martin's acting in a supporting role, but Martin is obviously one of our captains also.
Okay, there you have it, from the very man that's going to be doing this very same thing tomorrow, and I think you're looking forward to that already, aren't you, Kevin?
I am. I'm hoping the weather will be just as nice as it is today.
Well, it's no surprise that we mentioned that money is behind it, and indeed your support. To get this far has cost well in excess of £10 million, and that included £2.7 million as a heritage lottery grant. And in order to keep the aircraft flying, well, of course, it is going to require your help again, and that's where Project 2015 comes in. And as a result of extensive research with Cranfield Aerospace, and I know there's a very interesting leaflet available. Predominantly, it all starts with the leading edges, but there's an awful lot of work. But very luckily, they have an extension on the engine hours, which will see it through to that period. Of course, once, I understand, Kev, that once the engines are gone, they're gone virtually.
That's correct. The engines and the airframe will probably light out about the same time. So we're realistically looking at 2014, 2015 seasons. At the end of 2015, the aircraft will be grounded, unfortunately. As we see the aircraft now left with the wheels down, we're approaching the end of the display. Bill's going to raise the undercarriage shortly, and new for this season, they'll be doing a 90-degree left turn onto the B axis to depart, and then a final wing over left before he comes back into land.
Some £10 million it's taken to get things this far as XH558's return to flight has been concerned.
He's actually spent most of his time on a tiny little aircraft called a Tutor, but I know he relishes his weekends whilst flying this aircraft. And yes, Ben, I was referring to that support. It is extraordinary how much money has gone into this, but you know, let's just look at the people out there today supporting it, and they're right across the country.
And of course, a number of corporate sponsors as well who've given generously to the Vulcan to the Sky Trust over the years. Of course, the Civil Aviation Authority has been very supportive in all those endeavours. Likewise, the Aircraft Engineering Authority, Marshall Aerospace, and other firms giving tremendous support. AD Holdings, BAE Systems, Beagle Technology, Cranfield Aerospace, EADS, Goodrich, Kearsley Airways, Meggitt, Messier Doughty, Rolls-Royce and Serco. Just bear in mind that this aircraft takes about £2 million a year to run. No aircraft is cheap to run, an aircraft of this size and complexity especially so.
No, that's quite something to have in a private collection, isn't it? So, Kev, you were about to say.
Yeah, I'm just going to mention that we haven't actually mentioned the AEOs on board today. We normally fly with two. With one, we've got two. Phil Davis is the man in the seat today, and he works for Celex ES, who are very good in sponsoring us and also giving him the time to do this work. And also Jonathan Lazari is with us, just joined the team. He works for Cobham, and they do a very similar deal where they release Jonathan to fly with us, and so in fact are sponsoring us as well.
Very appropriately, the aircraft today lives at a former Vulcan base, what used to be RAF Finningley, now Robin Hood Airport, Doncaster, Sheffield. You can go and visit it there. You can go and join the Vulcan to the Sky Club. You can find out more about everything at www.vulcantothesky.com. What a spectacle now for those of you in the right position as XH558 comes in past XM607 to land.
And as Bill puts the aircraft gently on the ground, you'll notice he holds the nose in the air. We call this aerodynamic braking. The Delta wing is a big wing, and it also acts as an air brake in this situation, so he's slowing down purely just using the aerodynamics of the wing itself.
Yes.